Hey there, everybody. It's Angelo. Just wanted to check in, say hi. Hope you guys are doing good this weekend. It's Saturday night, hanging out. I've had a really relaxing weekend. Haven't really been up to much, to be honest. From what I understand, I'm really going to be hanging out at home. So I've been, doing a lot of housework, trying to be more productive, doing chores. And with that being said, if you I do apologize if you hear any background noise. Uh, the water's running on the other side of the wall right now. The bird is going a little bit, but if you can bear with me, I appreciate it. And with that being said, if you do me a huge favor, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. Lets me know that I'm putting out quality content for you guys, and motivates myself to you know, just continue to try to create something new. And that's every day right now, of course. So, gonna really get into it. Um, Not really sure what I should talk about today. There's a whole lot of stuff that's going on, whether it's in the news cycle or, just in personal life or, day to day things. I feel like the world is obviously it's a different place. We are in a weird position, and it's odd to see, I guess, how jaded. Oops, sorry about that. How I guess one-sided people feel about certain things. I've been doing a lot of research into different groups recently, and I've been watching a lot of interesting things about all these different fundamentalist groups, and it doesn't matter what race these people are, um, whether they're white, black, uh, you know, Catholic, Protestant, you know, um, it's very interesting how the construct of ideas can really push people to the right person uses those ideas. And I'm not trying to be political at all. I've been watching a lot of like docu-series stuff about you know how these countries are changing and what is happening in all these different places because of belief changes and all these weird groups popping up. And it's pretty surprising to see how influential some of these groups can be. And I guess that's the power of free speech, which I will admit, I think is important. I think you get a lot more positive stuff with free speech than you do negative. However, that's my perspective. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. Please do. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think about your experience with free speech. Obviously, I have lived a different life than everybody else. I've definitely experienced, I would say, a decent amount of negative stuff, but obviously there are going to be certain things that I'm not going to experience that other people will. So I'm not claiming that in any sense. But yeah, it's very, very, very interesting to see how, um, all of these different groups that would probably hate each other, um, they all have a lot of common tactics to push their agenda. And it's really interesting because, as I said, all of these groups would hate each other, but the way that they push their fundamentals and their ideas, um, they would all, agree on this is the way to do it. And I just find that interesting in a sense of the fact that they're all doing something in the sense of like same community beliefs without even realizing it, yet these people hate each other. And it's amazing how some people are able to hate each other before they even meet them. We have these crazy people everywhere. It doesn't matter what state you're in, what country. um, People are crazy That's just in general. People are crazy, point blank, period. Um, but enough crazy people together gets even more wild. So yeah, that's something that I've been looking into a lot more recently, and I've been trying to, I guess, be more aware myself of, you know, I guess the platform that I have, trying to obviously be socially aware. That's something that I've studied for a long time. I've tried to make it a big part of, you know, my self responsibility is to be aware of what's going on. Obviously, we have so much stuff that happens all the time that I don't get to see. So obviously, I'm not going to see it all. If you have something interesting that you feel like is a topic of discussion that doesn't get talked about a lot, let me know. I would. I'm gonna be cautious in this sense of, and I'm not really trying to make this too political, but I would love to hear some of the stuff that you guys think about, where we are in the world today. Um, you know, I think that there's a lot of positives to where we are, but at the same time, because we have some liberties that I think people know other groups may not have. And when I say some liberties, I'm talking about in the U.S. we have certain things that aren't guaranteed to other people in other countries, and that gets abused. And of course, it's going to get abused. People always find ways to, you know, whether it's people of power or just the common crazy, they're going to find a way to leverage policies that are in place to better themselves, and try to make themselves look like the winner. And the problem is the winners write history. So if they're writing the history and it's based off of a lie, then all of history is a lie, in that sense, or all of that history is a lie. So it's really hard to differentiate the truth from, what is false or, um, you know, I guess lined with lies or falsehoods. So obviously, be careful out there with what you guys are researching, watching. Make sure that it's accurate. I try to do my best as well. Obviously, I'm not putting up any statistics. This is just personal experience that I've had recently, and I think that it's very surprising to see how popular it's getting. I know this is a little bit different, the type of stuff I usually make, but I'm kind of feeling differently recently. I feel that you know, I'm having a hard time interacting with you guys with the same level, I guess, of energy and of I don't know, positivity. So I thought maybe we would take it from a different perspective for a little bit and just look at how interesting the world is from all these different people's perspectives. So if you have a perspective that you want me to touch on, or that, you think I should know about, let me know in the comments. With that being said, do me a huge favor, subscribe. And I just do want to say that this is all obviously educational purposes, and if you I still think that you know people are important, discourse is important, and I'm going to go back to my positive messaging, because I still feel like there's positive messaging to go out, even if people are there to put out a negative message. I think in counteracting that is extremely important. So if you feel like you are trying to overcome an obstacle that feels insurmountable, I want you to know that personally, I believe in you and your ability to do it. So remember that and use that as fuel for all of the people that are, saying it quietly or from the sidelines, that don't really know what it's like to go through, and use that as fuel to do something great. There are plenty of people that have overcome tremendous obstacles to do something great. And once again, I believe that you can do it. So, keep fighting the good fight. Uh, Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more positive conversation. It's been a very hectic news cycle recently, and it's not like it's ever too pleasant. But, keep fighting the good fight. I'm going to keep fighting the good fight. Don't quit. I won't quit. And I will talk to you all very soon. Have a great rest of your day.